there'll be a year where we're gonna celebrate Hari Raya and Chinese New Year on the same month and the same day, if I'm not mistaken. Hey guys, welcome to MFD Podcast. We aim to bring a sustainable, healthy dietary behavior for everyone. So we are back with our episode 5. At the time of this recording, it's 2 days before Ramadan, and I think it's not too late. I think it's still okay for me to just wish every Muslims out there Ramadan Kareem 2024. And we hope that this year is going to be a blessing year for everyone. Yep. And for today, we basically going to come back into episode 5. We have recorded several episodes already, and we've covered several topics, and you can see it back on YouTube or Spotify. On today's episode, it's going to be very different as usual, because we have done some research. We have gathered feedbacks among our friends, and we try to come out with a better kind of like podcast delivery, especially in terms of the presentation, in terms of the content, the way how we present ourselves. And we think that the most sustainable way for us to do this podcast is by doing this kind of way of recording. Yeah, we do not have much of equipment to do it, so that's why we are using I don't know how to call it, Shenyi, this method.
This is like a virtual method, which we can do it anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So it's no like we don't use any camera or whatever, but
Mm.
yeah, we just use Google Meet, and then we're gonna turn that into our podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Okay. And for these episodes, the topic is about it's almost related to Ramadan because after Ramadan is Shawwal, which is Hari Raya or Ideal Fitri, or we just say Eid. Yeah, there's like so many version of it. But yeah, usually we can only celebrate Hari Raya after 30. Like after fasting for almost 30 days in Ramadan. But one thing that we try to make it more interesting is by making it into a topic of 3 mistakes that we learned during Chinese New Year that should not be repeated during Hari Raya. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chinese New Year and Hari Raya for this year is not too far different. I think it's only around 2 months.
Around 2 months. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And in the upcoming couple of years, there will be a year where we're gonna celebrate Hari Raya and Chinese New Year on the same month and the same day, if I'm not mistaken.
That is going to be interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna call it because previously there was one time where Deepawali and Hari Raya was like happen in the same month, and they call it Deepa Raya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was also the time where we celebrate Independence Day, Merdeka, together with Hari Raya, and they call it Merdeka Raya.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, like Chinese New Year, what they will call it. What do you think is the name that we can come up with?
Um, I can't think of right now.
China Raya.
What?
China Raya.
China. But China Raya sounds like a raya for China. Yeah, and I think it will be very interesting though. I have a conversation with one of my friend before. If let's say Chinese New Year and Hari Raya fall on the same, let's say same month or even same week,
Yeah.
how will the traffic condition looks like?
It will be crazier than ever, that we can never imagine how it's going to be. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's just a little bit of like an opening for us to give you a little bit of attention, and we hope that you can give us the attention. Also, we are gonna make it different this time. There's no separate episodes, so it's gonna be, let's say, 1 hour. Then it's gonna be 1 hour of us talking about one topic. So it's not gonna have like part one and part two. You have to like wait another week and stuff. So we try to just make all the things within just one episode per se. Yeah, and we hope that in the upcoming episode we can start, like interviewing our dietitian friends or like any kind of like influencers or people around, just to talk more about maybe nutrition or maybe outside of nutrition. It can be anything. Yeah, but for today we're gonna specifically talk about the 3 mistakes that we learned during CNY or Chinese New Year that shouldn't should not be repeated during Hari Raya. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically Hari Raya Cina or Chinese New Year this year, 新年快乐, right? That's actually
Yeah.
the right way of saying it. It's not Gong Si Fa Chai, right?
Yeah, Gong Xi Fa Cai is another way of greeting, but that means like wish you prosperity. Yes,
Yeah,
新年快乐 means happy New Year.
yeah.
Mm.
So it should be 新年快乐.
Mm.
Is that's the right way of like saying Happy Chinese New Year to a Chinese friend, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And and I'm not sure if you notice or it's only me or everybody. This year seems more glory, like it's like people are really celebrating it compared to the previous year, which I believe, like it's already 1 or 2 years after COVID, and then
Mm.
people are starting to recover, and then a lot of things are getting back to normal and everything. And I feel like this year, the way how we celebrated Chinese New Year, it can also be felt by the Malays, can be felt by the Indians, not just the Chinese. Like personally, back in the days, maybe before COVID, probably Chinese will just celebrate Chinese New Year, right? Malay will just celebrate Hari Raya, and then Indian will just celebrate Deepavali, for example, and
Mm.
some people will just celebrate Christmas, for example. But I feel like this year, as a Malay, I mean, I cannot generalize or give the opinion of the whole Malay community, but I feel like this year I'm also celebrating it. Like I feel like I got very included into like celebrating it, even though I'm not going into any open houses, because you didn't invite me.
My house was quite far, but yeah, I mean maybe next year I can invite you.
Yeah, but yeah, whatever. But it's also just the feel of like in social media, like people, my clients, they were like greeting me Chinese New Year, yada yada yada. So I just feel it's more glory than before. Yeah.
Mm.
And do you think the same, or is actually different this year for Chinese New Year?
Chinese New Year for me has always been a glory one because basically it's a festive. Uh, One of the things that I noticed this year, I'm not sure if you noticed, is in terms of the fireworks.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Why, yeah?
I think because last year our government actually granted as make it fireworks selling as a legal things. Yeah,
Like you mean legal, people can buy and sell legally without any kind of like ambush from the authority.
they still need some kind of license from the authorities, and they need to obtain the license and approval, and they need to set up. If you can see along the roadside, there's a lot of store during Chinese New Year that time, especially where the area where a lot of Chinese is staying. They will have a lot of tent who that they set up purposely for the selling of the fireworks. Yeah,
Understand. Yeah. So we should be we should be expecting it's gonna be the same for Hari Raya, right? Because everything is start. I mean, they legalize it already.
yeah. But from what I get to know, there are only certain type of fireworks is allowed to be sold like publicly, by the roadside or by the seller. Yeah, only 45 types of fireworks. Mm,
Understand.
yeah.
That's. I mean, I don't know how to feel or think about it because, yeah, I don't know how it's gonna impact. But yeah, hopefully everybody who is going to celebrate by using those fireworks or
Mm,
anything, just make sure that everybody stay careful. But anyway, Shenyi, I used to work with a Chinese owned company before.
mm,
So I work in a sales industry. It's a software stuff, and I have a lot of clients, and we had a lot of give kind of like not really exchanging, but this culture where we will send gift to the clients, the Chinese clients, right,
mm.
or even the Malay clients, where it's a Chinese owned company, and they will send like a hamper or like gift box, usually the Mandarin oranges, and then we just send to our client. What does it mean actually? Like why it's a thing. And I saw, yeah, everybody is like doing that among Chinese community.
Yeah, I don't really know since when this culture started, but since I was young, and my even because my father also having some kind of own business. During Chinese New Year, they will always have a lot of hamper gift box that they decorate it in a very grand way. But when you open it, it's actually, I mean, they have some kind of filler inside, some to make it look tall and grand. So Chinese New Year is the time where people will actually do some gift giving, especially during this festive season, especially among what I observe among Chinese, actually as a greeting to
Mm.
give them, to give to someone that you care about, that work with you, for example, or that you love, and to share the joy of Chinese New Year with them.
I see. And how do you see it as a culture? Like, what's your personal thought about it?
Well, to be honest, I experienced this gift giving culture this year the most because since I started working, and right now I'm basically dealing with a lot of clients. So this year is the year where, on behalf of my company, I give out a lot of CNY gift to my client. And what I observe in the whole market itself, I believe if you go to supermarket during the Chinese New Year season, you will see a lot of extra booth. It is
Yeah.
selling bird nests, they're selling chicken essence, they're selling different snacks, and like basically CNY hamper market during the festive season. Which initially I have this kind of weird thoughts, you know.
Mm.
I actually thinking that why do okay maybe some context for the audience as well. Usually when we give something to, let's say, CNY hamper to someone, they will actually as a return they will actually give you something back, give back some other hamper as well. It can be Mandarin orange as well, but it's like a gift exchange
Mm.
kind of culture or ritual that they are doing, which when I'm giving that, or when I'm seeing a lot of people doing that, it makes me feel like, why do we need to purposely spend the money to buy the hamper, and somehow expecting people
Mm.
to buy us the same thing back?
Understand.
Yeah. But I do have this conversation with my relative during this CNY as well. I was just saying, why not, why is this needed? But
Mm.
they give us the answer as in, this is a culture or ritual that they do to spread the
Mm.
joy of, yeah, it's a new year for Chinese, and then
Mm.
it's a gift for you to, like, oh, let's welcome new year together, which somehow changed my thoughts. Because for me, in to put it very in a very I would say harsh way, why do you need to purposely spend a big amount of money and expecting someone to give you back that
Understand.
amount of money in terms of another hamper? Yeah,
Understand. Understand. And this is also on top of the ang pao, right?
yeah, yeah,
So ang pao is different, and then exchanging gift is also another thing, right?
yeah, exactly. Ang Pao would be more towards from the older generation to younger generation. Yeah, for those Chinese who already married, right? They will give Ang Pao as one of the they will usually uh, always come with blessing as well. It doesn't matter how much is the amount of in the ang pao. Like I think it's very similar culture with what you receive the green pao during Raya.
We never call it like
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's just a
exactly.
color.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I usually call it as a green because it comes in a green envelope. Yeah, so it is a blessing from an older generation towards a younger generation.
I think it's a bit different situation with Malay culture, or maybe it's just my family, or I never really studied or knew about it before. But in general, for Malay culture, it's not the married who will give the younger generation, but it's usually it's like or I've started working, so I got some money and I should actually start giving something, or like giving like an amount of money to people, to the older people, to the kids. And somehow we believe to give more to the older generations because
Mm,
they are the one who made the most sacrifice for us,
mm,
rather than the kids, where we believe that, oh, they're going to get money, but then after that, they might actually lost it, or they might actually do it for something else.
mm,
Yeah, but I personally think that um it's the time when we are giving more than what we receive.
mm,
It's about giving our time, like when Hari Raya, or like even Chinese New Year. This is a time where we're gonna go out of limit sometimes. not just about how we spend, but also in terms of what we eat. That's what we're gonna
Yeah,
talk later.
yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Mm,
Yeah, we are gonna be it's okay. It's like festival, it's okay. It's Hari Raya. It's okay. It's Christmas. So we should do more. We should do this. Yada yada yada. So yeah, I mean, like, it's the time when we're actually doing that.
mm,
But when we talk about nutrition or like diet, I mean, that would be a separate discussion. But what I'm trying to say here, I think there's a similarity in terms of the culture that we have, or maybe it is something that if we go to another country that celebrates Hari Raya, they don't have this kind of culture, for
mm.
example. Yeah, as what I understand in the Middle East, because that's where like many Muslims are, like there, right?
Yeah.
They celebrate Ramadan more than uh, Eid al-Fitri or like the Hari Raya. Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean, like, that's what the differences that I know, because my brother used to study in Egypt, so they usually will put Ramadan more than Hari Raya. But here, Hari Raya is glorious.
Mhm.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, we should have like Langse Raya, like the new curtain.
Mm.
The room has to be new.
Baju Raya.
Yeah, baju raya, everything.
Mm.
But yeah, I think if you think about it back, it's just beautiful. Like a Malay and a Chinese here, we can talk about it. We can see the differences, and most importantly, we can appreciate it more. Like we are able to celebrate it in our own way. Like you Chinese, you can celebrate your own way. Malay and as a Muslim, we can also celebrate in our own way during Hari Raya.
Mm.
So I think that's just one thing that we should express our gratitude about being in Malaysia, where it's just a melting pot where everybody can celebrate.
Yes, and a lot of cultural exchange happens. When for sure, I'm going to invite you to my open house next year. Make sure you come. and
Noted
and
that.
I think that is what something special as well. I think during the Raya, when they have open house, there was also like people from different races. They are joining. They are celebrating together. Yeah.
Yep, that's cool. Yeah. So let's really go back and pivot back into our topic, right?
Mm.
The three mistakes that actually it's you lah who learn, but we put it in the topic, right?
Yeah.
Three mistakes that you learned during Chinese New Year that we should not, that I should not. Okay, three mistakes that you learned during Chinese New Year that
Mm.
I should not repeat during Hari Raya, or people who celebrate Hari Raya, or maybe it's not just Hari Raya. It could be Deepawali, it could be Christmas, or it could be any kind of like festivals. Malaysian are known to have so many festive, whatever it is the name it,
Uh huh.
all around the year. Like we have so many celebrations, right? But what are the things that you think Chinese New Year, from Chinese New Year time, that we can actually learn from it?
Mm. Actually, when I'm preparing for this question, it took me a while to do a somehow like a reflection towards what is the mistake that I did that could also be applied or that you shouldn't do, right?
Mm,
I think the first one would be I concern too much in terms of the calorie that I took.
okay.
Yeah, the calorie that comes from food. Yeah, so just for some general context, if I eat a lot of food, for sure, especially CMI cookies, they will contribute a lot of calories inside because it's a generally higher in fats and also sugar. Yeah. So the things that happen to me is that I kind of very concerned where I do not want to. I actually control in term of the control a lot. Okay, in term of the Kueh Raya, in term of the CMI cookies that I took. Yeah. So that is the mistake that I think I have done
Mm,
during the past Chinese New Year, because what do the things that I have in my mind is actually, oh, this is kind of high in calorie,
mm,
and if let's say I take it and I somehow have an impression that okay, I will need to control myself after the Chinese New Year. You
mm.
get what I mean?
I see.
Especially during festive season with a lot of cookies. Yeah, but I do concern too much about the calorie that I took. Mm.
You concern too much. So does that mean we should not concern about it? You get what I mean? It's like you make it sound like we should not care about the calories during that festive season
Mm.
or like that particular one day.
Okay, this will be the things that I learned, is that I learned to not concern too much. Okay, there's a difference between like don't need to care about it at all and concern too much. Yeah, and I think what you should, okay, during Raya later, do not need to concern too much in term of into the extent where you start to be very restrictive in term of your favorite cookies,
I see.
because festive season is always about family gathering, right?
Mm,
And there will be a lot of good food
mm,
in both festive. And if let's say you being concerned too much in term of the calorie, that is definitely going to give you more craving. The food
mm.
is in front of you, and when you are very concerned about it, if let's say I take two or three of it or too much of it, then what will happen to me? But trust me, nothing significant is going to happen based on how you eat during festive season.
You mean like you're trying to bring into the perspective, like if we zoom out into a bigger perspective where
Mm,
like festival season or festival usually like example for Chinese New Year, there's like always one makan besar, right?
mm.
The night before. So you are saying that we have 7 days per week, and then it's okay for us to like get more of the calories in that particular one day because maybe we can actually compensate or like reduce the calories in another day because the way how we want to like take care of our diet when it comes to calorie is the distribution of the calories not just on a daily basis but also on a weekly basis, or that's not what you mean, because the way how I'll make it sound right now is that I'm actually concerned too much about the calories.
Okay, okay. Let me put it this way. The mistake that I learned is because I concern too much in term of I become restrictive in term of the food that I take.
Okay.
Right, right. And what you mentioned just now is exactly what I'm trying to say, but I have yet to tell it out. But you already come up with a general picture of it, because during festive season, what I learned is that if let's say some of the food, especially the favorite cookies that only exist during CNY, during
Mm,
Chinese New Year, I shouldn't be concerned too much, as in this is going to bring a lot of calorie to me. But of course, go back to the basic of it. I should just take one or two just to taste it, but not uh, but not too much, as in like when I was younger, right? When it comes to my favorite cookies, in terms of all those chips,
oh, how many you can finish?
in one box like this, I can finish within 2 days. And on top of that, I add on together with the carbonated drinks, 100 plus. Yeah, and that is just too much, which during that time, even before, I do not have much knowledge, and I just feel like it's CNY. I believe a lot of people fall into that loop as well before, as in they are not really aware. But what I'm trying to say over here is that do need to concern too much about it, but
Mm,
just pay it in moderation, and do not go into the extent where you avoid because you are so afraid of it. Because calorie
understand.
distribution is, if you put it into a bigger picture, as what you say, is a long term thingy. It Within that 3 or 4 days, for example, of eating slightly more than usual, or taking some of your favorite cookies, it won't impact much in terms of the whole healthy eating journey.
Understand.
Mm,
But I think if we try to challenge it into another perspective right now is that this is a very general or generic statement that you can give, right?
mm,
We should not restrict. It's okay for us to eat within one day.
yeah.
But I think we should put a caveat, like we
Mm,
should we should say that this is applicable for general or like public population who are healthy, for example. But I'm just putting myself into the shoes of people who have maybe diabetes,
mm.
yeah, diabetes mellitus, or people with like a very sensitive kind of disease that is related to nutrition, for example, like renal issues, right?
Yeah.
kidney, kidney function issues, and then or at the same time people with hypertension per se, you know.
Mm.
So I think we should put a caveat when it comes to this, because it's going to be a big challenge also for people with diseases, you know. Even though it's only one day, it's going to change the whole biochemical data, I'm sure. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think about that? You know, like what should you actually put that into a better word, to make sure that people will just take one statement from you. Oh, it's actually okay for us to like consume because it's only one day. Imagine people with diabetic, right? They listen to you, and then like, oh, that dietitian said it's okay because it's only one day during Chinese New Year. But actually, that person maybe has, I don't know, man, maybe DFU, diabetic foot ulcer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is very sensitive when it comes to the nutrition.
Yeah.
For example, like
Mm.
I'm giving a very worst example. So how do we put that into a better kind of like statement, so that, you know, like when people take this advice or like tips, we can see it, or something that we have learned during CNY, so people wouldn't put it into a different or very wrong misconception.
I think that is already a very good reminder from you, was saying that what I shared just now was mainly for I would say general population without any chronic diseases, and for population with some chronic diseases, as what you mentioned just now, some kidney disease, some diabetes mellitus, some hypertension. I will advise you all to talk to us, yeah, so that you can get a personalized consultation. Yeah, because what I shared just now doesn't simply apply on everyone.
Mm,
Yeah.
understand, understand. Okay. So what about when it comes to I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Just now
Mhm.
you were mainly talking about the cookies and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is also a drinking culture during Chinese New Year, right? Like they will play mahjong, or they will play some games, and then
Mm-hmm.
they will drink, and then they got like drunk or something.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take, or like something that you think, is that part of the mistakes, or is that something that you can learn from it? You get what I mean? Yeah. It might not be exist in Hari Raya,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
Understand? Yes.
But at least, you know, for other festivals or like other celebrations, right? Maybe drinking alcohol is part of the culture.
Mm.
So is there any takes, or like any kind of like things that you can also share from your past experience during Chinese New Year?
Mm. First thing first, my family culture, we don't really practice drinking. Since I was young, even when I look at my uncle and auntie, they don't really practice drinking during, let's say, no matter what is the festivals. Yeah, but along the way, right now, when the siblings started grown up bigger, they started to have some occasion drinking culture, as in they bring beer, and it is very it is a common practice in certain family culture. Mm. And for me to be healthy, right, to be healthy, definitely from a nutrition perspective, too much of drinking is not encouraged. Definitely, we look at the calories that the beer can bring to us, and then
Mm,
we look at some of the effect. Let's say some of the people get drunk, and then I don't know what, anything can happen when they are drunk, right?
yeah.
So that part of the drinking culture is not much of my personal experience. Mm. But
Mm,
it still goes back to, if let's say when you have some special occasion, be it wedding, be it family gathering, like big family gathering, occasionally to get some beer within the recommendation, which is like 1 to 2 bottle of beer, it should still be fine, but not excessive drinking.
mm. So I think this is a challenging part, Shenyi.
Mm.
It's like it's easy for us to like giving this kind of like statement or
Mm.
advice, I would say, to people who's listening, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's as easy as we can just like implement it by saying that, oh, I'm just gonna take 1 or 2 cans of beer on that particular night, right?
Mm.
Because it's a celebration at the end of the day.
Mm.
So people will, again, like when we were saying about this in the beginning, it's yeah, it's the day where we celebrate. We don't care much about everything. We just want to celebrate, so we don't think about calories, we don't think about how much we take because it's only one day. That's that kind of mindset.
Mm.
How do you feel, or how do you think about this kind of situation?
Here is the things when you bring the perspective, as in we don't really, because it's a festive season, and then we can just simply drink as much as we want or eat as much as we want, it still impact your health. Mm. And there's this two spectrum in between: being too afraid to eat too much calorie or to drink, and being excessively just binge eating, eat a lot,
Mm.
or just drink a lot. There's a this is a two-way spectrum at the end of, at the end of the 2 point. But
Do you mind to just repeat again about the spectrum? I think I'm not quite get it.
yeah, so there's this spectrum, as in like the end of the first spectrum is people feel very too concerned about their calorie intake
So
during,
that's a good spectrum or like a bad spectrum, or there's no, it's a neutral.
is a description.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, go
Okay.
ahead.
So another spectrum, on the another side, people are just don't don't care. They just drink as much as they want, and they just eat as much as they want. Okay. Both point, or both spectrum, could actually brings some effect to you. Let's say if you eat too much, really you eat a lot and you drink a lot, you might experience very rapid weight gain, just a few kilos increment during the just 2 or 3 days of eating. That means you are actually eating too much. But if let's say you're concerned too much, like what I shared just now, you will be very restrictive towards
Mm,
yourself, and it actually increase your craving.
mm,
Yeah. So what, for me, what will be the most ideal way is, when you drink too much, what will happen to you. Like
understand.
the I think it goes back to the awareness of people towards nutrition
All
as
right.
well. Finding the middle point at in between both spectrum is very important, especially during festive. Yeah.
Understand. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like that's a very brilliant kind of like descripting um the whole point of it. Also, my personal opinion, right? I personally think and feel that we are still lack of that awareness that you have mentioned just now.
Mm.
You know, I personally think that it's very dangerous when it comes to the way how we train our thoughts and mind about festive. Like about a celebration or about festival.
Mm.
We go big or we go home. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that this is the part where the dietitians or the medical doctor, even, or anybody who works in the field who knows more about this kind of thing, should put it as an example. And I think that starts from us. You get what I mean? It's like, if let's say we put it as a lifestyle, we will treat even a festival for just another day.
Mm.
Like at
Mm.
least when we want to drink too much or we want to eat too much, we still have that kind of thoughts that we are aware that, oh, we know the impact of it. Like if we take too much, then it's gonna be impacting. But I'm not sure if we go into the general population, are people really having that awareness even a little? What do you think about it? Like based on your observations towards your cousins, your aunties, your uncles,
Mm.
like the family members. What do you think?
People will usually fall at the end of both spectrum. Is either too restrictive, so afraid, especially younger generation who are very concerned about their body weight.
Mm,
And another perspective, usually from what I observe, is it falls in between middle age generation. They will feel like they, they don't feel the pain. They
mm,
don't feel the impact of eating too much, or eating too much, or drinking too much, what could brings to them, because probably based on their experience, which I totally understand, probably they have been doing that during Chinese New Year since young, since
mm.
years ago.
And
So
nothing happened.
yeah, nothing happened, and maybe they get drunk, or maybe they feel not okay for one day, and second day everything become okay again.
Mm,
Yeah. So I would say there's another group of people among my family member as well, because they already started to feel something. They have
and-
some minor stroke, etc. They
mm,
become more clear about their diet. So I'm not sure how to put this into a sentence, but I would also highlight, as in, probably probably people will, because of the lacking of health awareness,
Mm.
they will only be careful. They will only look into it seriously when something happen, when some disease start to appear, some symptoms start to appear. Yeah.
Understand. So maybe I should also challenge this conversation
Mm-hmm.
instead of like going very far. Maybe in term of us, like we are the one who studied nutrition, right? We have our degree in dietetics.
Mm.
Example, did you play your role during Chinese New Year? You get what I mean? Like something that we think about the
Mm.
awareness, like awareness needs to be told, right? They
Mm.
need to have some sort of like people telling them, or they see a poster, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen some people doing posters reminding them, oh, this is the calorie of like the fortune cookies.
Mm.
I don't know what, what kind of cookies that I can think
Oh.
of, or maybe the pineapple tart, for example,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do we play our role actually? Did you play your role during last Chinese New Year? Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't really share that much of what we call that, how much should they take during the just the last Chinese New Year, because I have shared with them even before.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, one of the example that I can share is that during steamboat,
mm,
yeah, steamboat session, my family actually took the initiative to prepare for the ingredients
mm,
during the last CNY. I mean, the last year one. And because we are the one who choose the ingredient and things like that, we actually buy a quite a balance of the all variety of food, but
mm,
not just focus with the what we call it, the what should we call that, all the steamboat processed food for
mm,
that we usually cook for the steamboat, like fish ball, like the crab stick, and
mm,
etc. But we add on a lot more of vegetables and also fresh meat, like
mm.
chicken, like fish, to put in the steamboat. Yeah, because I tried before to
And how was the acceptance of the family members? Did they notice it, or it's just another day of taking steamboat?
they did notice it. They feel like, hey, oh, this time a lot of vegetables.
And did they acknowledge that? Oh, is it because like my niece is a dietitian?
There's this conversation before though. They said,
Nephew,
oh,
sorry, it's nephew, right? Sorry, yeah, whatever.
yeah. So there's this conversation before. Yeah, even with my friend, they said eating out with dietitian will always have a lot of vegetables. Like I play by example rather than I
Ask
encourage,
people,
yes, ask them to do it,
understand?
because it comes to my realization. I think we mentioned before in the previous episode, not easy to consult or to consult a family member, but I play by example.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if you answer my question. Did you
Okay.
play your role this year? Because you were saying that it was
Yeah.
last year, right?
This year I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that could be the fourth mistake, right? Or that should be one of the mistakes that we should learn from this CNY. Anybody who's a dietitian who has the knowledge, I think we should play our role by, like lead by example. Maybe that's the right
Yeah.
way of saying it, right?
Yeah.
Like walk
Yeah.
the talk, rather than just keep posting video on Instagram like what we used to do, right? Saying we should eat this, da 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 da. But we are the one who actually contribute to people doing it as well. Yeah, because people might, maybe we don't think it's gonna happen, but what if, let's say, there is someone who really look up at you because you are a medical doctor or like you are a dietitian, right? And then they see you eat maybe something heavy or very high calorie, then they will think that, oh, they can do what I cannot. It's like, oh, dietitian also can, means I also can lah. You
Mm.
get what I mean?
Mm.
Even though it might not happen, but I think there's still a chance, or like there's still something that we should unfold it and make people just ponder about it, like just think about it, like it might actually contribute to that.
Understand that. Yeah, it's a very timely reminder, which is, yeah, definitely the role of us to play during, especially during the family dinner or those what we call that, festive season.
Mm,
Mm.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get back into when you were saying about like I was saying about, I'm not sure if it's is it true that it's a culture where you will play board games or like mahjong,
Mm-hmm.
a card game a night before, right? During that the makan besar night.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is that true? Is that a culture?
That is not really a culture, but that that kind of activities in terms of playing like mahjong, playing like card game or some board games, uh, it actually happened throughout the Chinese New Year
Mm,
when family and relative they come back for gathering, and after while chit chatting, then they will actually have to play some games. Yeah.
understand. But is there anything that like involve playing a sports like a physical, like something that requires maybe playing badminton together with all the cousins instead of like playing a board games or like a card game at home?
Hmm,
Is
hmm.
there a thing there? Because I believe that should be something that you should learn as well, right, from this Chinese New Year.
Yeah. This Chinese New Year, for the past Chinese New Year, uh, I think I didn't really. I'm actually living a very sedentary lifestyle. Yeah, because you make the point there when you look into the things that we are always doing. It's like the leisure time, what we do during our leisure time would be more towards just play games, but rather than some sports.
Mm.
Mm,
I mean, like
yeah,
sports is still games, right? But we
yeah.
should be specific card games or like mahjong where it doesn't require us to really move, but you just need like a board game, a beer, like a canned beer, and then you will like play it all night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about it?
Mm. This is actually one of the mistake that I think I made this for the past Chinese New Year, because I have been quite in not active, not really physically active during the Chinese New Year, because I took around 1 week break, around 6 days, I guess. It's a 6 days break, and then in that 6 days, I barely do any exercise. Like what do I mean by exercise is like go for jogging, or even go for sports and things like that. Yeah, what I do mainly is just playing board game, just sit still on one place, and that shouldn't be repeated as well in the coming festive season. Mm.
So what people should do instead? Do you expecting them to like go and play futsal or like badminton together with the whole family a night before Hari Raya?
I don't think that is practical, right? Yeah, I guess.
But why not? Right? Why not?
Do you think that is practical?
I'm asking you, why
Right.
not?
Because from what I understand, if let's say even one day before Raya, there's always a lot of chores ongoing. Even Chinese New Year, right? They need to like clean up their houses and etc. To put on the new curtain and etc., which makes them do not have much time to like engage into like a sports, for example like badminton. But instead, what I will do, I think I will make it as a promise here as well, right? Since we are sharing with audience, to be physically active, as in maybe just like a short period time of workout in the morning when I wake
Wow,
up.
interesting. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Short duration, it can be like 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, there's no specific scientific study on like why 5 to 10 minutes, but it's a short period of time where I am commit to be physically active, even though during festive season.
Aren't we supposed to advise people by saying that you should not just focus on that 5 to 10 minutes, but it should be throughout the day of that celebration? You should move more.
I think it depends. It depends because if the let's say in my family we spend most of the leisure time just sitting together, just play some card game, play mahjong, and we chit chat and things like that. Probably one of the things that they can do is like maybe you can do some stretching in the middle of the game.
That's awkward, but yeah, continue.
But that's awkward. That's why the commitment that I will make to myself, or if that applicable for everyone else, is to have a focus of maybe just a short period of time before you start your day, just to wake up earlier a bit, and then to make some times to be physically active.
When you say wake up earlier, right? And I think one point that we should actually highlight is in terms of the sleeping quality as well, right? The sleep quality during festival season, which I think it's also important, I guess.
Mm, yeah. In terms of the duration of sleeping, you mean?
Yeah, because let's say you play game whatever it is until late night, right? And then you wake up early. Okay, I give you an example of like Hari Raya.
Mm,
The night before we will do all the chores as
mm,
what you said, right? And then we usually will sleep late because of I remember when I was still like a kid, I'm so excited for Hari Raya and sometimes I couldn't sleep,
mm,
because we just play the fireworks, whatever things, right? And then we couldn't sleep, and then we need to wake up early because we have like a morning pray, and also the ritual is that we're gonna visit the grave of our like grandparents or like
mm,
father parents and whatever it is. So that's why we have to actually wake up early,
mm,
which eventually, if let's say we sleep at 2 and then we wake up at 6, we only had like 4 hours of sleep, right?
mm.
And do you think that that is something that is also a mistake, or also you want to tell people that it's okay, it's just one day? Yeah, what do you think about it? I know it's very subjective and
Yeah.
very hard to come up with a proper kind of like it's not a solution, but whatever it is, like thoughts or advice, because it's just so hard to articulate about this.
Mm.
Yeah, but what do you think about it? I feel like it's very challenging.
Yes, it is very challenging. Let me put myself as an example, which during the first day of Chinese New Year, I don't usually get enough sleep because we have some we have some ceremony after midnight to actually to pray and things like that. And after that, only we sleep. And as I still consider myself as a youngster, we'll always have, a very rare family gathering that we're going to talk, and then
Mm.
maybe you sleep very late, and that will definitely impact my sleeping quality. Yeah, but I will make sure, try my best to sleep early on the next day, because it is so hard to avoid sometimes, and it does happen. But when our sleeping quality actually reduce, that could also impact the whole general health as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so on how to replace it back, or how to make sure we get back on track, is to actually get adequate sleep time
The day after.
on the day after. Yeah.
Understand. Right.
Yeah.
Pretty
But this is
intense.
a very challenging question.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much that we want to just unfold and talk more about what have you personally learned
Mm,
during Chinese New Year that we should not repeat in Hari Raya or any other celebrations, i.e., Deepavali, Christmas,
mm.
whatever it is. But maybe you just want to summarize back all the mistakes that you have learned during this Chinese New Year, so that we won't repeat it during Hari Raya, since Hari Raya is a month from now, I would say.
Okay. All right. So I think what I have shared just now, I think there's a total of three mistakes that I made, and probably applicable for you for the coming Raya. First thing is, I maybe I put it into a tips for everyone as well. Would be better, because that is just my mistake and what is my learning, right? First thing is that do not concern too much of your calorie intake. Yeah, highlight the words concern too much. You can take everything in moderation, but just don't concern too much until you you restrict yourself from a lot of things, especially some kind of rare food, your favorite fruit, right? Food, for example, right? And second one that you reminded me just now, as to be a role model in your family gathering, or in your family gathering, or for the reunion dinner, or whatever food that you are having, just by as the playing the role as a role model, so that you can actually create the awareness to the people around you as well. And the third one is, try to break the sedentary lifestyle that you usually have, by just sitting and then spend our whole day. But try to be physically active, spend some time, even go for a walk, or just like a short exercise, short workout. That should be good. Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Did I miss out anything? I think that is the three.
Maybe we should also highlight about the sleep. Like
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. And also, don't burn too much of midnight oil. If let's say you feel like your sleep quality is a little bit affected because you don't get enough sleep, try to get adequate rest as well. Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. So I think this is a pretty useful thought process that we have discussed pretty extensively for the past almost 1 hour. We hope that you get something out of it. We hope that my fine diet has given a little bit of different when it comes to our podcast. Um, but yeah, do you have any final thoughts or like final says, Shenyi, before we end our podcast today?
Uh, I think all in all, if let's say still, if let's say you are a general healthy population, okay, try to take you can take some advice that or some of the tips that we have shared in the episode. And unless if you are having some medical condition, you need to talk with someone. Yeah, for example, us.
Perfect. Yep. So I guess that's pretty much about it.
Mm.
Please feel free to leave us any comments if you like this kind of content. We really appreciate it a lot. If you can show us some support as well. We are trying to play our role as much as we can as a dietitian, as a healthcare professional, just to educate. And most importantly, we talk a lot about awareness in this episode, right? We just want to give more awareness to people about the importance of being aware about what you eat, even during like a celebration or like a festival season. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this podcast. We hope that you enjoy this episode. Last but not least, Ramadan Karim. Selamat berpuasa to all Muslim friends out there. Thank you.
And thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.